नमस्ते बिटिया, हमेशा खुश रहो बिटिया. A very good morning to you all. Myself, JB and Dr. Ravi Jain, Assistant Professor, Department of Practice of Medicine and Faculty of Homeopathic Science at Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. In today's lecture, we are going to start with liver failure. Today, we are going to learn about acute liver failure and also a little bit about the chronic liver failure. So what is liver failure? What is the etiopathogenesis of liver failure? What are the clinical features? Investigations and management, all these things we are going to learn in today's lecture. So let's start with the liver failure. Now, liver failure are of basically two types, acute liver failure and the chronic liver failure. So let's start with the acute liver failure first. Acute liver failure, it is a rare syndrome and it is defined by the rapid decline in the hepatic functions. So in the acute liver failure, there is a rapid decline in the hepatic function and it is characterized by, first of all, jaundice. Next is the coagulopathies. Third is the hepatic encephalopathy in patients with no evidence of prior liver disease. Fourth is the encephalopathy that is characterized by changes in the intellect, personality, emotions, consciousness, with or without neurological signs. So what is acute liver failure? Acute liver failure is basically a rare sign that is defined by the rapid decline in the hepatic function. And it is characterized by the jaundice, coagulopathies, hepatic encephalopathy in the patients with no evidence of prior liver disease. Encephalopathy is characterized by the changes in the intellect, personality, emotions, and consciousness with or without the neurological signs. Now, acute liver failure can be further divided into three subtypes. It can be hyperacute, it can be acute, or it can be subacute. So in case of hyperacute, the symptoms are for less than 7 days. The most common cause is the viral hepatitis or the paracetamol intake. The acute liver failure occurs when the symptoms are there for 8 to 28 days, and the most common causes of acute liver failure consist of cryptogenic or drugs. The third variety is the subacute variety, which lasts for around 29 days to 12 weeks, and it is uncommon with cryptogenic cause and drugs. Now, what is the pathophysiology that is involved in case of acute liver failure? So what is happening in liver failure is there is a rapid decline of the hepatic functions. So whenever there is rapid decline in the hepatic functions, you are going to observe jaundice in the patient. There will be different types of coagulopathies, hepatic encephalopathy and encephalopathy that is characterized by the changes in the intellect, personality, emotions, and consciousness level. So in the pathophysiology, we will have any cause of the liver damage can produce acute liver failure. So any of the cause that is causing damage to the liver can produce acute liver failure. Acute viral hepatitis is the most common cause of acute liver failure. Paracetamol toxicity is another important cause. Whenever a patient is taking paracetamol tablets for a long period of time, then it can also produce acute liver failure. Amentia phalloides fungus, it is a type of fungus that can produce acute liver failure. It can be cryptogenic. Cryptogenic means hidden. So it can be hidden without any cause or with the unknown cause. Another important disease condition that is associated with the acute liver failure consists of Wilson's disease. And next is the liver metastasis. So if there is any sort of cancer and it is radiating to the liver, it can also lead to the liver failure. So in the pathophysiology, we have all the causes that are responsible for the development of hepatic failure. So all the causes that can damage liver can ultimately lead to acute liver failure. Acute viral hepatitis is the most common cause. Paracetamol toxicity is another important cause. A fungus known as Amentia phalloides fungus. We have cryptogenic cause with the unknown, that is unknown and hidden. Next, we have Wilson's disease and the liver metastasis. Now, what are the clinical features of acute liver failure? If a patient is coming to us with the complaints of acute liver failure, what are the clinical features that we are going to observe? In the clinical features, we will have general symptoms of weakness, nausea, vomiting, and the right abdominal discomfort. So in the clinical features, we will have general symptoms of weakness. So the patient will complain of weakness. Along with the weakness, the patient will complain of nausea, vomiting, and right abdominal discomfort, because liver is in the right hypochondriac region. So there will be discomfort in that particular region along with the nausea and vomiting. There will be cerebral encephalopathy. It is the cardinal manifestations. The initial symptoms of the patient includes poor concentration. So the patient is not able to concentrate properly. There is poor concentration with behavioral abnormalities. The patient can be restless with aggressive outbursts due to the drowsiness and coma. So there are initial symptoms. It includes poor concentration and behavioral abnormalities like restlessness, aggressive outbursts, to the drowsiness and coma. The patient can complain of flapping tremors of the extended hand. So if the patient's hand is extended, the patient can complain of flapping tremors. There can be cerebral edema. It increases intracranial pressure, causing the fixed pupils. There is hypertensive episodes, which includes bradycardia, hyperventilation, profuse sweating, and local fits. So in the clinical features of acute liver failure, we can have general symptoms of weakness, nausea, vomiting, and right abdominal discomfort. There can be cerebral encephalopathy. The initial symptoms includes poor concentration with restlessness, aggressive outbursts to drowsiness and coma. There can be flapping tremors of the extended hand. The patient can also complain of cerebral edema that increases intracranial pressure, causing fixed pupil, hypertensive episodes, bradycardia, hyperventilation, profuse sweating, and local fits. Now, the clinical manifestations of acute liver failure can be seen at multiple organs. It can be seen in the brain, heart, kidneys and adrenals, pancreas, livers, lungs, systemic affections, and bone marrow. In the brain, it can lead to hepatic encephalopathy, cerebral edema, intracranial hypertension, and seizures. In the heart, it can lead to high output states, subclinical myocardial injury, hepatocardiac syndrome. In the kidney, it can have hepatorenal syndrome, hepatoadrenal syndrome, electrolyte abnormalities. In the pancreas, it can cause pancreatitis. In the liver, it can produce loss of metabolic function, hypoglycemia, hyperammonemia, coagulopathies, and lactic acidosis. In the lungs, it can produce acute lung injury, acute respiratory distress syndrome, hepatopulmonary syndrome. In the systemic manifestation, it can present with systemic inflammatory response, immunosuppression, high energy expenditure, and catabolic states. In the bone marrow, it can have frequent suppression with anemia and thrombocytopenia. Now, what are the different examinations that could be done in order to diagnose a case of acute liver failure? In the examination, we can check for jaundice. So there will be jaundice that will be developing rapidly and deeply. So there will be rapid onset of jaundice and there will be deep jaundice. The liver is usually normal in size, but later becomes smaller. So initially the liver is normal in size, but later on it becomes smaller. There is feta hepaticus that can be present, and there is ascites and edema are the late development. So we can have ascites, we can have edema. In the investigations, we can do various investigations to determine the cause of liver failure and the prognosis of the disease condition. So we can check for hepatitis B core antigen with IgM antibody. We can check for prothrombin time. We can also check for the plasma bilirubin level that reflects the degree of jaundice. We can also see plasma aminotransferase activity, and it is high after the paracetamol and overdose. And ultrasound of the liver and Doppler of the hepatic veins can be done. So in order to diagnose the acute liver failure, we can perform various investigations, which includes hepatitis B core IgM antibody, prothrombin time, plasma bilirubin that reflects the degree of jaundice, plasma aminotransferase activity that is higher after paracetamol overdose, and ultrasound of the liver and Doppler of the hepatic veins. Now management. How to manage a case of acute liver failure. Whenever a case of acute liver failure is coming to us, we can manage the case in the following way. The progression of hepatocyte destruction is rapid because in this condition, there is destruction of the hepatocytes and this pace is very rapid. Hence, it should be treated at a high dependency and intensive care unit. So it has to be treated at the earliest and in the ICU, that is intensive care unit. The conservative treatment aims to maintain the life in the hope that hepatic regeneration. So our only hope is to make the patient live for some times so that the liver can regenerate. N-acetylcysteine therapy for paracetamol overdose is given, and liver transplantation is an alternative in the it is increasingly important treatment. Now, how to monitor the case? How to monitor the case of acute liver failure? The monitoring is done by the following ways. First of all, we can check for the neurological level, for consciousness level and intracranial pressures. We can check for the cardiorespiratory parameters like pulse, blood pressure, central venous pressure, and respiratory rate. We can check the fluid balance by checking the input and the output fluid volume. Blood analysis can be done for the arterial blood gas analysis, creatinine, urea, glucose, growth hormone time, etc. For the infections, we can do culture, blood, and urine. We can also do chest X-ray, and we can monitor the temperature of the body. So for monitoring, we have to check the neurological signs, that is consciousness level and intracranial pressure. We can check for the cardiorespiratory symptoms, which includes the pulse, blood pressure, central venous pressure, and respiratory rate. Fluid balance, which includes the input-output chart, has to be maintained. The blood analysis is done for the arterial blood gases, creatinine, urea, glucose, growth hormone time, etc. Infections can be checked by cultures, blood, and urine. X-ray can be done, and temperature monitoring can be done. Now, what are the complications of acute liver failure? If a patient is coming to us of acute liver failure, what are the different complications that a patient can present with? The complications includes encephalopathy and cerebral edema. So there can be encephalopathy and cerebral edema. The patient can complain of hypoglycemia. There can be metabolic acidosis with infections of bacterial and fungal variety. There can be renal failure with multi-organ failure. So this is about the complications. I will again repeat the complication of acute liver failure. The complications include encephalopathy and cerebral edema. There can be hypoglycemia. There can be metabolic acidosis, infections like bacterial and fungal, renal failure, and multiple organ failure. So this is all about the acute liver failure. Now we are going to discuss about the chronic liver failure. So what happens in the chronic liver failure? In the chronic liver failure, the functional capacity of the liver is not able to maintain the normal physiological condition. So there is damage in the liver cells which are not able to maintain the normal physiological conditions, and it is characterized by encephalopathy and ascites. So you are going to see the encephalopathy and ascites in the patient. And the most common cause of chronic liver failure is the cirrhosis. So we are going to discuss all these things one by one. Ascites we have already discussed, and now we are going to discuss about the cirrhosis in the next lecture. So chronic liver failure is occurring as a consequence of the following things. Number one, insidious destruction of the hepatocytes. So if the hepatocytes are getting destructed at a very faster pace, then it will result into acute liver failure. And if there is a slow onset of the slow destruction of the hepatocyte, then it will lead to chronic liver failure. So if there is insidious or slow destruction of the hepatocyte, it will lead to the development of the chronic liver failure. It can also, chronic liver failure can also occur in consequence of the acute or chronic injury in the viral hepatitis. So viral hepatitis is also responsible for acute liver failure. It is also responsible for chronic liver failure. There is increased metabolic demand in the liver, example, infection or gastrointestinal hemorrhage. So chronic liver failure is occurring due to insidious destruction of the hepatocytes, due to acute and chronic liver injury due to viral hepatitis. And the third is the increased metabolic demand of the liver that is seen in case of infection or gastrointestinal hemorrhage. Now we come to the clinical features of chronic hepatitis. So the chronic hepatitis can present to us either in the form of jaundice. Jaundice we have already discussed in the previous lectures. It can present in the form of hepatic encephalopathy. There can be ascites. It can present in the form of portal hypertension, that is due to variceal bleeding. there can be liver function that can be damaged, and it will be seen as a consequence of in the form of prolonged prothrombin time and low albumin. There are other features which includes the peripheral edema, renal failure, jaundice, hypoalbuminemia, coagulation abnormality, and defective protein synthesis. So these are the clinical features of chronic liver failure. I will again repeat the clinical features. The clinical features includes jaundice, hepatic encephalopathy, ascites, portal hypertension, liver function deranged, and other features which includes the peripheral edema, renal failure, jaundice, hypoalbuminemia, coagulation abnormality, and defective protein synthesis. So the individual investigations and management we are going to discuss in each of the topics separately. So I'm not discussing in detail about all these topics, like the portal hypertension and portal hypertension we are going to discuss in the next lectures. Cirrhosis we are going to discuss in the next lectures. Jaundice we have already discussed. Ascites we have already discussed. So all these topics we will be discussing separately, and in the separate way there we are going to discuss their etiopathogenesis, the clinical features, investigation, and management. So combinedly they will consider the chronic liver failure. So this is all about liver failure today. We have discussed about the acute liver failure and a brief about the chronic liver failure. We are going to discuss its details, like as I've told you, like portal hypertension, cirrhosis, and all the other topics later on one by one in this chapter. So I hope you have understood this session properly. This session is powered by Digital Version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope the session is clear to you. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box and I'll try to resolve it. So this was all for today. Thank you very much. Have a good day.